Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you for inviting me.
And welcome to Nigerians podcast, although this is in your residence this
Thank
morning.
you.
Today we'll be discussing, will a strong democracy help to reduce corruption in Nigeria? And we're very much aware of the work that Sweden and Nigeria has been doing to help, Nigeria's democracy. So welcome to Nigeria's podcast, an initiative built to create awareness of governance issues that highlight the cost of corruption and its impact on service delivery. We're also hoping to build a society of people who will act with integrity and strong culture, and we do this through values-based education. So our podcast is one of these means where we hope to educate Nigerians on things that they can do daily to help to reduce corruption and act with integrity. So with us today, we have a very, very special guest that we're honored to interview. We're sitting with the Swedish ambassador to Nigeria. So sir, please, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much once again for coming to the residence for this spot. My name is Carl Michael Grans. I'm the Swedish ambassador to Nigeria, but also to Ghana and Cameroon, actually, and to ECOWAS, where the regional embassy based in Nigeria. I've been for 3 years.
Wow. I hope you can speak a few of our words, if they've taught you a few of our good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Has that happened yet? A few Nigerian words, local languages.
No, not really. I have a little bit of pidgin, but that's about it. The how far and the idea. Right. So yes, a little bit. But you have so many different languages.
Yes, that makes it a bit more difficult.
Yeah. I tried to Euro a little bit, but it's difficult.
Yes, I would say so too. Thank you. So let's get right into the questions. This year, on June 12th, we will be celebrating Nigeria's Democracy Day, and we'll be marking another year in Nigeria's democracy that has been for over 2 decades. As you reflect on the country's journey so far, what would you say is your candid analysis of Nigeria's democracy in terms of strides made and lapses?
This is a very broad question. So I think you have to look at it historically and also regionally in West Africa. And Nigeria, if you look back, you have 60 years of independence, a little bit more, 62. And so it's a young nation still. And you had both civil and military leaderships throughout the years. But then, of course, you changed in 1999. And since then, you have been on the democratic path with a civil government being elected regularly. So that's already a very good sign. And now we have new elections coming up next year on the 25th of February. And if you compare Nigeria to other countries in the region, we can see, unfortunately, a negative development. In so many countries have new military regimes coming up in the Sahel region. So Nigeria, being the biggest in this region, is very important, I would say, to be a role model for other countries in the region, to see that it is possible, even for this hugely populated country as Nigeria, to stay a democracy. But then we have to work on certain things. We'll come back to that later, I think, including youth and women.
Okay, thank you for that introduction to the conversation. So Nigeria has had many measures put in place to tackle corruption. Lots of them have not been as fruitful as we would like. So we're wondering, do you think that having a strong democracy, or a stronger democracy in this case, will help to reduce corruption in Nigeria?
Well, democracy is so many things, it's based on so many things, and you focus on anti-corruption, which is very good. That is basic to have a society of accountability and transparency. I think these are basic democratic values. That can be difficult, but they are fundamental for a democratic country. And we all know that you started with corruption in Nigeria, like many other countries. And this is a heavy burden for your economy, for the development of your economy, and also for your society and your democracy as a whole. So we've been working on this with different organizations. We'll come back to that later, I think, but try to promote democratic values in different ways. So, but perhaps you know that Sweden is very much advanced in a way when it comes to transparency. Even salaries and taxation is public. So you can regularly read in tabloids how much the politicians earn and how much wealthy people, businessmen earn and how much they paid in taxes last year.
Wow.
It's a bit shocking perhaps to Nigerian, but that is the case. And this of course helps to address accountability.
Would you say that builds public trust in the politicians, that everyday people know what they earn and know that they're actually paying their taxes?
Yes, I mean that's fundamental. And if you compare to Nigeria, people don't want to pay taxes and they don't know what taxes are paid for, and they see the wealth perhaps of oil and gas going elsewhere, and it's all about, we talk about the social contract, and I think the social contract in Nigeria is very weak. And if there is a contract, people will be willing to pay and to contribute in another way.
I would like to ask also from something you said, in terms of like the values, I think societies are built on values, and you mentioned some values that Sweden has, transparency, accountability. So would you agree that there is an erosion of values in the Nigerian and the West African subcontext that allows corruption to thrive, and maybe if we instill more of those democratic values, which would be fairness, transparency, accountability, those values themselves would help in the fight against corruption?
Yes, I think that it all goes together, and by building democracy, by promoting these values that you mentioned, you can fight corruption, and then you can develop both economically and society.
Thank you. So over the years, the Swedish mission in Nigeria has been committed to providing support to sustain Nigeria's democracy as well as other parts of Africa, as you said. So how has Sweden's Drive for Democracy initiative helped to improve democracy in Nigeria, and what key lessons have they learned?
Well, we've been working on this Drive for Democracy for a couple of years, not only the embassy in Abuja, but Swedish embassies all over the world. Actually, it's a global drive for democracy, because we can see that democracy is actually declining, the level of democracy globally, if you compare all the countries. So, yes, we work very closely with the civil society in Nigeria, which is quite vibrant, I would say. We always work together with Nigerian partners, Nigerian organizations. We never do anything alone. It's all about cooperation. So, and we try to include youth and women in particular, as mentioned. So we had, in 2020, for instance, we had a series of 3 democracy talks focusing on women, youth, and civil society. And to mention another important partner is Accountability Lab. We've been working together with them on the Integrity Icon Awards that I have hosted in residence several times. And we try to not only promote the values, but also to give visibility to the many Nigerians that work on this and try to improve. And I think with the digitalization, it's really a tool for us to raise awareness. In a way, it's easier today than 20 years ago, because you can go, out in social media, and if you get viral, it can spread enormously. So there are also possibilities in this. But perhaps you asked about lessons, and I think that that is the first lesson, actually, to involve the Nigerian civil society, to always work together with Nigerian partners. And the second lesson is visibility, to change the attitudes. I think this is where you have to start to raise awareness, to give visibility to what can be done and what is being done, and because you have to change attitudes, and then awareness and raising awareness is really the first step to changing. And the third lesson is actually a long-term engagement. I mean, this is not done overnight. It takes time. Swedish democracy has evolved during 100 years, and it's still evolving. So it's a process that never stops. So don't give up.
Yeah, thank you very much. If I may ask, because this is a bit off script, but in terms of implementing in the various countries that you have, how would you say Nigeria is performing in terms of response of the community, civil society, youth, women? Is there like an acceptance of the message, or is it pushback? How has that been?
Well, as I said, I think that the civil society is quite lively in Nigeria. You have many organizations, and you have a lot of young people who are very engaged. It can be, gender equality or climate change, or and they go into the streets, and they had SARS a couple of years ago. So I mean, the commitment and the movement is there, but then there is. I don't see this commitment in politics in the same way. You have two big parties focusing very much on them, and also about the primaries in the papers, and who's who, and who's getting a ticket. Okay, that's part of the democracy. It's the same in the US, in many countries. And we have elections coming up in Sweden in September. It's very much about the game. I mean, media loves it. So it's not only Nigeria.
Okay, sir. So, like many countries are battling, as well as Nigeria, disinformation is causing a lot of angry reactions from citizenry. So would you say that disinformation is harming Nigeria's democracy? And just tell us a bit about the Pledge to Pause initiative that you support and how that is helping to tackle disinformation in Nigeria.
Yes, Sweden is behind this Pledge to Pause, which is an initiative by the United Nations, and many countries support it. And it's really about thinking twice before you post something or retweet something online. Because there's so much information spreading, and with the digital world, it's so easy to spread information, and sometimes too easy. So you have to think twice and see who sent this, and what are the facts behind it, and is it really true? Because it's easy for us to send, even including myself, to pass on information that I'm not sure of it's true. So, and yes, of course, this information is harming to democracy all over the world. So, and we can see this in the Russian aggression on Ukraine, there is part of the warfare being spread. So we have to be careful.
Okay, so this episode will air on June the 12th as we celebrate Democracy Day. And this is my final question to you, sir. We celebrate 23 years of consistent democracy in Nigeria since 1999. Would like to hear, what message do you have? I know you've answered this across many of the questions I've asked, but as a direct message to Nigerians to celebrate this day, what would you like to say to the youth, to the women, to the nation as a whole, as we celebrate democracy?
I think one of the big challenges in Nigeria, if we talk about Nigerian democracy, is inclusion of young people and women. And if you count the numbers, it's actually the majority. Of the population, and you can never build a sustainable democracy without representing the entire population. I think that's a lesson learned in many countries, including my own. So that would be my main recommendation. But I mean, to work on it. And if you look at women in politics, they are very successful Nigerian women outside of Nigeria. Heading the WTO or United Nations, Muhammad, etc. So, but they go abroad. So why don't they stay in Nigeria for politics? There is something, that you have to work on. There is a gap. So you have to work on it, and then include young people. But also, young people have to engage politically. It's also a responsibility, to come on board. So we will have to work on democracies.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much
for your time. Any other comments,
sir? Just a happy Democracy Day in a couple of weeks. So looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you.